Hi everyone, you're welcome to Christian Therapy, and it's your host Aisha Verano, and today I have two special guests with us, and it's Jeremiah and Lola Keji. Hi guys.
Hello guys.
Hello.
Good to see you guys, man. It's always a pleasure.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Thanks, guys. All right, so let's jump right into it. So, what would you do if your partner cheated on you? What would you do? Is it enough to leave the relationship?
Okay, I guess I'll start. I think for me, it differs between I think males and females. I think for guys, cheating is like the end of the relationship. Like guys, in my opinion, I mean, we'll get Jeremy's perspective in a minute, but that's the way I think guys view cheating. Like if they were dating someone and they cheated, like that's the end. But I think for us females, it's a bit, we pardon guys a lot. Oh, and we start looking for excuses. Oh, this or, in relationships, right? But I think in marriage, if you're married to someone and they cheat on you, I think for a woman, they would feel the same way, like, you know what, this is it. Like, I'm off. This is, But going back to your question, like, what would you do? Like, what would I do personally if I was in a relationship, not a marriage, because there's a difference from me in what I would do, right? If you're, married with 3 kids or whatever. But if I was in a relationship with someone and they cheated on me, the first thing I think about is, what kind of cheating is it? Is it emotional cheating? Or is it a physical cheating? From my own journey, I think for me, I view both things as like the same. I don't think, emotional cheating is less or physical cheating is more, whatever. I feel like emotional cheating, physical cheating, they are the exact same for me. I feel hurt the same way. I'm not like, it's only physical, it's fine, he'll get over it, he's not emotionally attached to her, blah, blah, blah. I think for me, first of all, I'll try to have a conversation with the person. Is this going to be a pattern for you? Is this a once-off thing? Is this someone that we've both been kind of like, okay, watch out for this person? Is this someone that I've warned you about? Is it a case of you traveled somewhere, I wasn't there, and you fell into temptation? She magically appeared in your room. Like, what is the situation? What exactly happened? I think that communication needs to happen, So I wouldn't just leave straight away. I would have the conversation with the person. Like, is this going to be a pattern for you? Like, are you, like, is this a problem? Have you been possessed now? Like, do you need deliverance? Like, what?
Do you suddenly urge to cheat?
Do you get what? Because people were like, I've heard crazy like explanations. Oh, this is why. Oh, I feel attacked. I feel like I was attacked by the enemy, and it's like you hear all sort of crazy excuses. But for me, I wouldn't leave. Right, that's my something. I wouldn't leave straight away. I would have a conversation with the person. And depending on whatever we speak about or whatever actually happened or their explanation or whatever, then it would determine if I would stay or if I would leave. I would leave if I realize that, okay, this is going to become a pattern. Or if this is someone that we've already discussed about, this is someone that I've already warned you about, then I'm like, you know what? I need you to take time away and deal with this whole situation and get some clarity and decide if this is the relationship that you want to continue in, because there's no point in you cheating and we're just going back, we go straight back in. And that's going to be a problem for me, because one thing I notice is that, and it's a saying people say, once a cheater, always a cheater, especially if it's someone who we've discussed about, or if it's someone in proximity or something. I'll be quite concerned that this is going to become a pattern now. But if you flew the way to Spain to whatever, and you met a random person and you fell into temptation, that's another situation, right? That's another, Okay. But yeah.
I think we come back to the Spain thing. Remind me if I forget. But yeah, Jeremy, what were you going to say?
Well, I think it's hard to have this conversation without talking about the psychology. Not necessarily scenarios, but talking about the psychology of, the male and female approach when it comes to cheating and when it comes to why. people cheat. I think the reasons why women cheat very different from the reasons why men would cheat. And we have to first and foremost recognize that there is a difference. So would I like she said, because of the previous episode that we had, we cannot just assume that cheating is sex or physical contact, because cheating is in different stages, right? And they all have different levels of concern. You get it? But for me, I have pardoned certain stages before where I was aware that there was a bit of flirting and stuff. I've pardoned that before. I think it depends on, but let's say for a continuous kind of communication, which suggests there's an emotional kind of connection and dependency, that becomes an issue for me. And if it gets to that point and going from that point, I will not be able to. I think it will be a no for me, only because I do understand that how not every woman, because not every woman is like that, but for majority of women, it takes a lot for them to get to that place, and it's difficult for them to equally balance two people in that situation. I realize, and when she starts giving that attention to someone else and depending on someone else for that emotional fulfillment and also physical fulfillment, normally, not every single time, but most times, is an indication that she's already checked out. Do you know what I'm saying? And that alone, for me, is trying to revive that situation. It's like flogging a dead horse. It's not going to work because she's gone already. And even if she comes back, chances are it will not be the same. Do you get it? Because, like I said, so the psychology of both man and woman has to be taken into account. And on that basis, I would not be helping myself if I try to revive it. I understand what Lola said about women give men excuses. I don't think. Yes, women do. However, we have to look at that situation properly to be able to understand what actually transpires.
Yeah.
So with men, we have several complexes, right? And how sexual relations are painted to us and like how we are encouraged towards another stuff, it has a psychological impact on us, right? And it's as though it's like a game. For example, if I'm with my friends, we meet a girl who's attractive, and you're not trying to get in there, like not trying to
pursue
get
her.
attention, it's as though there's something wrong with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Now imagine coming from your whole life being this way. It's just an indication of this hunter, and sometimes it's not even the sex that's the woman. It's just the ideology of I could get this person. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when I say these things, obviously, a lot of when I talk to ladies and I say these things, they assume that I'm excusing them. I'm not excusing anybody. Nobody should cheat, right?
Period.
Let me just put it.
Period. Absolutely.
That's the truth. But what I'm trying to say is, in making things work, it's best to understand the parties involved and understand if you were to start a business, you have to market research, you have to understand your market, understand your consumer, understand how they think, understand their habits, All these things will help you to be able to know how to relate with them. It's the same thing. When a man is getting into a relationship with a woman, or getting into a marriage, it makes sense for him to understand how a woman is. Because there's a difference between our behaviors and our expectations generally. And then it comes in on an individual level as well. Every woman, as much as they're the same, they're also different. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to study the person. So in understanding how men think, especially when it comes to sex and things like that, it's important to understand what sex is to a man. And once you do, for example, most times when a woman cheats on a man, right, and things get a bit far, she don't come back. Yeah, I'm not saying every time, but most times. Or if it comes back, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
But a man can do it and still be do you understand? And still be treating his wife and still be loving his wife. Obviously, we can say the act of cheating already is disrespectful and it's a betrayal of trust.
Yeah.
We can talk about that part.
It is.
However, he is not going to leave her. He's not necessarily going to leave her. Most times, he's not going to leave her, right? Or stop loving her. Obviously, that's debatable for most women to accept, right? Because in your eyes, how can you love someone and cheat on them? That's why this conversation is important. Because you must understand that with men, he can love you, and do you understand what I'm saying? It's a foreign idea to you because that's not how you're made up, and it's understandable. But in our world, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? He can be loving his wife and still do that, whether it's by mistake or he wanted to do it, or it's his lifestyle, or it's a struggle, right? So once you understand all of these things, then it gives you a better perspective with regards to how to approach the situation. You get it? Like I said, for me, if it reaches a certain stage, it's definitely a no. Not just because somebody cheated. That's not the case. It's because I know that I've lost her mentally.
Right.
And once you lose her mentally, getting her back, all your efforts will be futile. So for that reason, it becomes a no. It's not, oh yeah, she cheated on me, so I'm no, that's not the reason why. Ideally, what you would want to do is to find out why. How did we get here? For some people, they assume that when you're in a relationship or marriage, it's bliss. It's supposed to be just naturally just enjoying and just. In actual sense, that's not the case. You have to keep re-inspiring that feeling. You have to work on feeling what you feel for your partner. And when certain people don't feel that way, it's not working and it's done. Right? So there's a degree of laziness that causes people to not do certain things. And there's cause and effect. So when one person is not doing, the other person is being affected negatively, then they begin to do their own. And that back and forth. Do you know what I'm saying? So if we can pinpoint where the things go wrong, we can probably address and identify the issue and have the chance to address the issue. Because cheating is an indication of a problem. Whether within the person or within the relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It could be that the person, for example, with men, we love peace of mind. We don't want to come home to Afghanistan. We don't want to come home to Iraq. You understand what I'm saying? We want to come home and have, for example, when I get home sometimes from work, sometimes I can sit down for 1 hour just in my space. Just I come sit down, drop my bag or whatever. I find myself sitting, TV's off, it's off. I'm just there in silence, just getting my whole self together in a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm a single guy, so I can afford to do it. In a marriage, of course, it doesn't necessarily work that way. But the point is, with men, we love to come home to peace or to a peace of mind. And when every time you're at home, it's a fight, it's a fight, that in itself pushes you back a bit. You begin to develop a dislike for being home. It may not be your intention to cheat, but there's always one person who may innocently get Jonathan opens up doors. You may be thinking of things in a very innocent way, but before you know it, you're elsewhere. Do you get it?
Right.
Now, if you end up, if you shouldn't cheat because you are committed to someone. But if you end up cheating, for example, there is an issue which led to it. Do you get what I'm saying? And that issue, should it be resolved, the situation can change. Do you get what I'm saying?
So you're saying like there's a difference between a situational cheat, i.e., situation led to the cheating, and then on the other hand, there is a person that person that just cheated because that's who they are.
Yeah. I'm saying that there are reasons that can lead to that, and in those instances, it can be resolved. So what would be ideal would be, as opposed to just, oh hell no, we're done. Oh, how can you do that to me? All that stuff. Sometimes you are the problem. It's
Sorry,
not a popular
say
opinion,
that again.
You know what
I'm saying?
You cut off a little.
Oh, I said instead of. Oh, okay. I said instead of crying and how can you do this to me? How can you cheat on me? All that stuff. Sometimes it's best to understand that sometimes you could be the problem. Not a popular opinion, but it's a fact. Sometimes, I'm not saying that. Oh, so the point is, wanting to find out what happened is important. Certain things can be resolved. Certain things cannot be resolved. But at least it's important to know what the cause is, and then be able to. Not all situations can have that kind of result, but some can. Do you get it? And that, I think, is a good place to look at things from. Like I said, I also mentioned the reason why I would say no is because, like I said, I understand that when she gets that far, it's a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? So ideally, I would want to know, or we should want to know, what the issue is.
I think it's interesting though that I think from you speaking, I feel like you feel like there's a difference between the way women like view cheating and why women cheat versus why men cheat. Now the thing is, I don't know if you know someone called Olani, and so she does.
Yeah,
Right. So
I think she's a very confused individual who needs a bit of a psychoanalysis.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not even going to go into that at all. But what I'm going to say about that is, Olani has a page where she sometimes asks people about their experiences. So one of the segments I think she's done previously is like cheating stories or something. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And women were sending in like messages about when they've cheated before, and whether or not they continued in their relationship, things like that. And a lot of the women that said their stories that cheated in the relationship and continued in the relationship and stayed in the relationship and nothing happened and their partner did not find out. So what I'm saying is, yes, we might think like, a lot of women cheat and there's like some emotion that pushed them to it. But when you actually think about there were some of the stories that I was reading and I was like, yeah, this person has no remorse. They definitely don't. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, I did it, and then the next day I cleaned myself as usual and went back to my partner.
If you remember what I said not all, but most. And if I think in the previous discussion that we had, I also mentioned that and I think you guys also kind of agree to it. For a woman to get to that point, there are certain things that have taken place in her life that has enabled those, because naturally, you guys, it takes a lot for a woman to give herself to someone naturally. So I do not doubt that there are girls out there who are like that. There are, but statistically, it's been proven that about 30% of women stay or so after cheating, as opposed to 60% of men staying after cheating. So it's something that is proven, but it's not every shoe fits all. People have different issues, and like we discussed in the previous episode, in a case where somebody gets caught up in a moment and they cheat, it may not necessarily be their intention to leave, and they may realize that they made a mistake.
Right.
If I understand that's the issue as her man, my concern is it may be difficult. I may feel like a different man may be able to impress her because somebody impressed her and she moved with it. Do you know what I'm saying? And the difference in dynamics is this: with men, it's as though we have to impress our women and we have to be this figure too. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when someone else takes that place, it becomes a very competitive thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody else has moved into your house. That's how it feels like. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it has taken me out of my place, and she's giving my title.
It's like a territorial thing.
Yeah.
I think, like,
you understand, and then also you start thinking that there becomes a trust issue, and the trust issue is not just based on the fact that she can cheat, but I think it's the things that we attach to the cheating, not the cheating itself. You get it? Because even the sex, right? Even the sex, he's thinking this person probably did please her more than I could, because when you think about men, right? No, because naturally the man proves himself to the woman. You know what I'm saying? The man has to, like, he presses, he wants to please, so he feels like somebody else has done these things, but she prefers that. Do you get it? Even like if you want to talk about it sexually, and I'll be very, very blunt here, he's thinking about maybe he has a bigger penis or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it goes that far. You become paranoid about all these details. Do you get it? And your manhood is threatened.
Wow.
So it has all these connotations, and many men will pretend that they're okay, but the truth is, at some point, they begin to lash out on small, insignificant things because this thing is still playing on their minds. Do you get it? So that the differences, these are some of the differences. Do you get it? That makes it difficult.
I think for me, like, would I stay in a relationship if someone cheated on me? No. Hell. Like, I'm one of those people where I'm like, for me, it's a lack of discipline. If you can cheat on me, you lack discipline. And I don't want to be with a life partner who lacks discipline. I want to be able to know and trust that, yes, you can be tempted like everyone else is and decide that, okay, I'm not going to do this. That same discipline, you're bringing it to every area of your life. I cannot be with someone I don't trust. And if you've broken that trust before, I'm not going to trust that you won't do it again. For me, as an individual, like, I know people change and I know all of that, but I know that if he has done it to me in our relationship, I would be uncomfortable. I don't want to turn into a paranoid person. I don't want to turn into someone who's like, oh, let me check his phone. Who is he messaging? Why are you wearing that outfit? You know that's your good tie. That's your favorite tie. Why are you wearing perfume? Why are you wearing? Do you know what I mean? I don't ever want to be that person because I love my peace of mind. I like waking up not worrying about anything, not stressing about anything. But if I now had to stress about, oh my God, he's running late from work, that means he's seeing this girl. Nah, that's not the life I want at all. So I'm one of those people where I'm just like, you've cheated.
That's it.
I'm packing my load and I'm running in the other direction. Now, you know how we talked about is flirting, cheating. For me, I didn't say it was cheating. I said it is inappropriate. Now, I feel like in a relationship, yes, like if my partner flirted, it depends to what extent. So maybe, for example, he was having a conversation with someone. I thought it was flirting. He didn't believe it was flirting or whatever. I would be calling him out and say, okay, that conversation, I feel like that conversation is inappropriate. You didn't need to be, you know, doing all that, like whatever he was doing and all the flirtations. I don't need all that extra stuff, right? Say she looks nice and move on. You know what I mean? No, oh, you look nice. Oh, the way the hair curls your... No, stop it. So for me, that is inappropriate, right? So I would be having a very stern conversation. Now, I will not leave him because of that. However, if that then becomes a pattern for him and he's constantly doing that in my presence, out in my presence, all of that, that is going to be a wrap. Now, if he was having inappropriate conversations, I'm not even talking about flirting. I'm saying full-on inappropriate conversations, as in like, today I want to do, nah. For me, that is like cheating. You might as well jig it. You might as well let me leave you go do that. Like that's just but that's the thing, I have like this perspective on cheating anyway, and so I think it's one of those things where like people are gonna have their perspective, but I'm just like, I want to be with someone I can trust. I want to trust that you have discipline enough, because what makes you think every day I'm not tempted, fam? There are all sorts of attractive men that just, you know, coming in my messages, looking at me, telling me how beautiful I am, and I'm like not going there. So I don't understand. I just don't get it. So yeah.
Definitely.
Also, I agree with what you said about like women like to make excuses for men a lot. Like sometimes I get it, yes, he might not have thought about it, he might not have thought things through, but I feel like sometimes it's just excuses, because this man actually cheated the first time, he cheated the second time, he cheated the third time. What is the excuse again? Every time he blames you. At what point do you think, okay, wait, maybe it's him, maybe there's something in him that is causing him to do this. There's something in him that he needs to work on. He needs to work on his character. He needs to work on his commitment. Does he have commitment issues? It's okay for him to work on all of those things. And it's okay for you to love yourself enough to be like, I'm not going to be there while you're working through all of this, because you're clearly not wanting to work if you keep cheating, not doing anything about it. But yeah, that's my
list. And I think I want to bring in something as well, right? I want to bring in societal pressures, right? Because some women, you know, in your heart, and I think maybe I would say this first. The first thing is you have to know yourself. To thyself be true. You know in your heart that you don't tolerate any form of cheating, whether it's emotional cheating or physical cheating. But because of society, because you know, if you tell your friend, if you tell your mom, she'll be like, oh, guys are like that. Is it not just, you know, they just kind of, you know, pamper you and tell you that as a woman, this is something that you should be accepting, or as a woman, you have to understand, you know, from this early age that, you know, this is something that would happen. You know, I remember meeting a guy's mom, and while I was leaving, she put me to the side and she said, I want to say something to you, you know, and I want you to really keep this. And she, you know, I was kind of looking worried, like, okay. So she said to me, I want you to exercise patience with my son. In my mind, I was like, patience for what? Like, I'm already starting to think a million things. Patience for what? Yeah, I'm like, okay, am I supposed to be expecting something, you know? And true enough, I needed more than patience. Like, I was just thinking to myself, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I cannot have patience. This is beyond me. This is breaking beyond and above my boundaries. I'm leaving, you know, goodbye. You know, but that's something that, you know, I feel like we need to talk about as well, because society will tell you, even if it's just a relationship, oh, it's fine. Is it not just talking to that girl? Just have a conversation. He won't do it again. It's, you know, as long as he didn't go and have sex with her, he didn't sleep with her. And even if he does that too, men are like that. They're conditioned like that. They're hormonal. They, you know, they say all these things. So I think my own thing is just know yourself and stand true to what, you want or your boundaries and that. Refuse to, listen to whoever else telling you, oh, just stay, oh, it doesn't matter. If you know that this is something that, because what tends to happen is that you say, okay, yeah, okay, I'll listen, right? Okay, I'll stay, right? What tends to happen is that there's still that like bitterness, that frustration, that anger that you've not resolved. There's still that resentment. And what tends to happen is that feeling that you've bottled up is going to come and attack that relationship in the future. And you start hearing little things like, oh, you're taking a trip without me. Or, okay. So I'll just keep on going. You can edit this part. So, what tends to happen is that resentment or whatever tends to attack the relationship in the future. So that's why it's important to be true to yourself. If you know that this is something that, he's gone to sleep with someone else. I had a story recently about a South African woman who she was, in a relationship with this guy. He even proposed to her, right? And she said maybe 2 weeks to the wedding, she found out that this man had slept with her best friend. Now, a lot of people will be telling her, oh, it's close to the wedding, we already made an arrangement. They'll try and compare her. They'll try and tell her that this is something that she should accept, not knowing that this will clearly become a problem in the future, right?
Right.
So I think it's something that we need to talk about as well, and it's something that we need to keep in mind. As ladies, know yourself. If he physically cheats on me, if he sleeps with another woman, I don't care. I am leaving. And you make it clear to that man that if you dare do that, it's not something that you just have in the back of your mind, like, oh, secretly. It's something that you communicate.
100%.
If you move to another girl, I don't care if it's by accident. I don't care if you lost your mind for a minute. I don't care if she came on. I don't even want to know the excuse. Just know I'm gone. And some women like me, if you decide that you want to start developing an emotional connection with someone else, you want to attach yourself emotionally to someone else, you want to be, spending more time, dedicating more emotion to someone else, then I'm going to leave. I think it's important to make that clear to, the person you're in a relationship with, and also to be aware of societal pressure. Be aware of it and say yourself, I'm going to stand for what I believe in. I'm going to stand for what I want. Because if you don't, you might think you're being a good person, you're being a good girl, a good guy, a good whatever, but it will come and hunt and bite you in the future. So you might as well just, do what you need to do now. Yeah.
And the truth is, you tend to know these sorts of family friends and family members who have these views anyway. They're usually very vocal about their views. So you already know, maybe I shouldn't be telling them my business, because I already know what they're going to be saying. So there is no point in me telling them my business. I personally think, I feel like if you can't, there's nothing wrong with you saying, you know what, I cannot stand being cheated on, and I'm not going to take that. And stick to that and make sure that that is what it is. For me, I can't. So I'm not going to put up with it. That's ultimately what that's about. Now, I feel like marriage is a different situation entirely. I feel like with marriage, I have a little bit of, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know if I have a leeway. But I feel like with marriage, I would not be as quick to just be like, I'm done. Like if I had a boyfriend right now and I found out he was cheating today, we done. I don't even need any explanation. I don't need no sorry. We out. That's not what I'm doing. But I guess with a marriage, you want to think a little bit and be like, okay, should we go to counseling or whatever and have a conversation about it? And then when we have the open and honest conversations, I might still dip and go and move on. But at least we've had that conversation. At least we've put everything on the table. I just think it's unfair the way women are expected to take men back from cheating, but they don't do the same under the guise of, oh, women, oh, you're emotional, so you formed an emotional relationship. I just think yes, you might have formed an emotional relationship. Yes, or you might not have. You might have just had such a long day. I don't know what experience. I can't say. Whatever could have happened. The same thing that could have happened to a guy could have happened to her. And then she did it. So I feel like the reason society always accepts, oh, the man is destined to cheat or whatever, is because people continue to make excuses. You are responsible for your own actions, my G. Literally, regardless of who you are, you're responsible for your own actions. That is what it is, you know. So that's pretty much how I see it.
Yeah, and I feel like what these older people don't tell you about, oh, just stay and accept this cheating, is that they're in a marriage with a man who, yes, this has happened to them, but it's a pattern. It's now become a pattern. You're in that marriage, you are bitter, you are resentful, you are sad, you're depressed, you are lonely, because that's what cheating does to you as well. It isolates you from your partner emotionally and physically. So if you're watching this and you've had that situation come up for you, where you're in a relationship with a guy and then everyone around you, his friends, his mother, his siblings, they're all begging you to come back and try to pat you on the back. We're not
Don't let
saying
them manipulate you.
don't let them come. This is your life. This is your emotional life. This is your life, for God's sake. Decide for yourself, if this is something that you can accept. If it's not, discard everything that's been said and just go on your own way. Trust me, you'll find someone that used to cheat on you. You'll find someone who, respects you enough not to dip out with someone else. So, yeah, I think that's very important to make clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy, what were you going to say?
It's a bit of a sticky kind of conversation, isn't it? I think we gotta get another guy in this conversation because then I'll be the only person who is saying something else, and then that may not necessarily go well. But I hear you. I'm sure you understand my stance is nobody should cheat in the first place.
100%.
I do think when a man cheats, it's a lack of discipline, like you said. I think you are entitled to not want to be in a situation where you don't want to be cheated on and the person is likely to cheat. You're entitled to not want to be in that situation. And
100%.
like you said, to yourself, true. So if you know how you are and you know this situation will not work for you, then probably don't be in that situation. Do I think cheating is enough to end a relationship? No, I don't think it is. However, if it's going to drive you crazy, then probably you shouldn't be in that, put yourself in that situation either, because then, but then with that being said, like I mentioned earlier, is an indication of problems, and at least try to see something that I recognize is even in relationship, whether cheating or not, even when you don't cheat and you come out of relationships. If a lady comes out of a relationship, everybody's consoling her. You know what I'm saying? Oh, babe. Oh, even when she breaks up with a guy. Oh, babe. Oh, a guy breaks up with a girl. He's a bastard. You know what I'm saying? They accountability. Yes, he is accountable for his action. It's like someone said, "Oh, the person made me angry, so I shot them." You still go to prison, man. Yeah, you still pay the price, 100%. But for the sake of righteousness, with regards to this topic, also being able to look at the situation to see what happened, because certain things, it's not just enough, even if you're leaving, even if you're not staying, because I made a statement before that if you have a smell on you or have a stink on you, wherever you go, it will follow you. So it's important to be able to analyze certain things to see, because like I said, it is not just the act of the cheating, it's just an indication of a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? So that indicates that there are issues. Now, what is the source of the issue? Personally, I'm thinking, is it me? Or what led to this? Or sometimes it's just the person. You know what I'm saying? Some people actually have problems. Some people have an issue with being content. They some people are naturally restless. Do you understand? And some people are so many different reasons. Some people they have things that are troubling them. So it's not necessarily you. But what I'm trying to say is that let's at least try and analyze and examine to see where things may have gone wrong. that way, even if you're leaving, per adventure, it is an issue that, came from both sides or came from you. You will be able to say that this thing happened and I don't want to take this to my next
relationship.
That's not to say that the next person can cheat. The example that I gave earlier on, that kind of situation there, he then doesn't want to come home. He has to sleep in the house. So I know guys. Yeah, I used to hang around with some grown men who will be at the barber shop all night to 5 a.m. or to 3 a.m. or to 4 a.m.
Right.
They have nothing to do. They're just chilling. But by the time they get home, she's sleeping. Praise God, she's sleeping. Yeah, they will sleep, wake up in the afternoon, and then out and sing. You don't want that kind of situation. You see, you don't want that kind of situation. So, you have to examine yourself, right? Because I know some people that say, "Oh yeah, listen." Let's be accountable for our actions and examine ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, and once we look at it that way, I'm not saying you must stay. That's a different thing. I'll come to that one. But for now, let's examine ourselves. Even if we leave, we know that we are not leaving into the same kind of problems.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that's one. Then secondly, well, I've already said it. If you cannot deal with that situation, then don't deal with it. Once you see the signs, especially in a relationship, in a marriage, it's a lot more trickier because you've you've taken an oath, right? And in certain churches, they say for better, for worse. But marriage is a covenant. It's a covenant that should not be easily broken, right? That's why you have to know the person that you're marrying, right? And what that means is, regardless how it happened, you are committed to try and make an effort to save it. That is your first, or that should be your first instinct.
Right.
We are going. I know. I know people that. The man was even even a pastor, and but what the wife did, she first and foremost protected the family, protected the integrity of her family, right? By keeping it in a certain way. Because of certain understandings that she had, she found the issues. So her first instinct was not, "Oh, I'm going to run away," or "I'm going to leave," right? Like I said, when it comes to marriage, it's a whole different ballgame because you've pretty much taken an oath in the presence of God and your family to work on this and make it work. It's a covenant. So it requires the effort, even when it's like this. The effort is still required. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you would try and make it work first until it gets to a point where it's like,
You can't.
Right. Then you have to take it back to the people that, and then let them also try. And then, but there should be a process even for that one. Do you know what I'm saying? In a relationship, of course, it's easier. You see these things and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'm bouncing them out or whatever. Do you get it? And preferably see them in the relationship. Obviously, some people are very good at, forming for you, in that stage, all that stuff. And also, people do change later on. And also, things do happen later on. So you cannot truly 100% know for sure. But what I would say is,
it's a tricky one. I mean, is that what you think?
Let's examine ourselves firstly, and then see what the issue is. Even if you're leaving, at least know what the issue is. It's important in my opinion. Then secondly, let me just throw a bit of something out there. There is a saying that men are polygamous, or
Right.
men have
Before
animal
you
instinct.
even say that, right, I wanted to quickly say something on the issue of examining yourself. I get what you mean about examining yourself, because I think in all relationships, regardless of how it ends, I feel like we
You
all
should
should
examine
take some
yourself.
time to examine ourselves and see,
100%.
okay, is there anything I did? Is there anything I could have done differently? Now,
Yeah.
one thing I don't want people to do or take from this video is that we're saying that it is your fault that someone cheated. That is their choice. They chose to do that. They could have had a conversation with you about what the issue was before they chose to cheat. So I just want to leave that and put that out there, because I think sometimes, especially a lot of women tend to take responsibility for that anyway. They tend to feel like I wasn't enough. I did something, So I want to make sure that we're clear that we're not saying that, it is your fault. We're not saying that, that is not what we're saying at all. So don't take that from this video and think, oh, we're saying you should beat yourself up about, it being your fault. And everyone is entitled to their choice and their actions, and all actions have consequences. So if they chose to do that, then that's ultimately what they chose to do. So just putting that out there. But yeah, examine yourself all the way, regardless of the relationship. Jeremy, now you can bring the thing about the polygamous.
After the owner of the show did a disclaimer. No problem.
Say that again.
I said after the owner of the show did her disclaimer. No problem.
I felt like I had to, because I just didn't want anyone to take anything the other way.
What I would say to that is, I believe in cause and effect. You get it? People respond to their actions because you have a commitment, and once you break that commitment, you broke it, regardless. But people also have a level of tolerance. You get it, man or woman, and giving certain, like I said, certain things can open certain doors and make certain things easier. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people that swore they would never cheat, and they are not necessarily like that. But they find themselves in situations where it became a lot. The idea became a lot easier. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But so along those lines. But yeah. Anyway, I was saying, this is saying that men naturally are supposed to be or are polygamous by nature. What do you guys say to that?
I think that's a comment and a title that older generation has placed on us.
Is it the older
opinion,
generation? Yes. That has been the case for the past. It's only the past about 20, 30 years that this narrative is changing, because of, we live in a liberal society now. So would you now negate our existence for the thousands of years and try to say that the past 20 to 30 years is the accurate one, and then, do you see what I'm saying? The rest.
It's just every time.
Because when you say the older generation, because we say the older generation, we are talking about human existence for the past thousands of years. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, my granddad still has 4 wives. Well, actually, how many wives? But people are not doing that now. It's not popular now. Does that then connote that was either wrong or problematic, so to speak? I'm not fighting for it. I'm just trying to analyze.
No, I like that perspective though, because I realize that even though we like to say, oh, we're in this new era, blah blah blah, a lot has not changed. Whenever I'm around like an older aunties, even like our parents, like their circle and stuff like that, you will see that they tend to say these things. You come to them with like, oh, this is what's going on, or blah, 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 which you should never do. Never go to your auntie or your uncle or anyone. They're not relationship expert. Okay? But I tend to realize that this thing, like, it's still there. Oh, men are polygamous by nature. They try to force you to excuse things that should not even be excused. And it's so irritating for me, because I know that
why do you personally oppose that ideology?
Because I feel like it's just giving men a pass, right?
On what ground? Is it because you feel like it gives men a patch, or because Like, is it just the fact that you don't like it, or
No,
do you
but
have
imagine,
any grounds to stand on to say
I get it,
that
but imagine
it is
now,
not the right thing?
to be honest, let's be honest, I feel like, scientifically, whatever, ever, it is not right. Let's be honest, it is
How?
not right.
Which study? Which
I
scientific
don't study, but
factor?
no, let's think about it. No, let's think, because my grandfather had like multiple wives as well. So I feel like I'm on this table and I have a right to speak about it. So no one should think that they're being attacked or anything right now, right? Our grandparents, they all had this situation going. But for me, I'm always kind of like, whenever I look at the wife, I'm like, so you all mean you're all sleeping with the same man and you're smiling and shining your teeth? How is that okay? You get what I mean? Like, whenever you sleep with someone else that's not your partner, there are risks to this, right?
But they are
There
partners. They are married.
That's even if they're married. Some of these men, they just have their wife, and then there's two other, people out there that they've not even claimed.
That's going to bring
Whenever
us to a different conversation with regards to what
I
marriage is
personally
really.
think like it's an excuse. I personally think it's an
With
excuse
regards
that
to
they
what marriage
use.
is,
I feel
because
like, if you're saying men are polygamous, so women are polygamous too. Because let's all be honest, we all came from we all are the same, aren't we? Male or female, we created them. So if you're saying that men are created polygamous, then we are created
no, we are not the
polygamous
same.
as well. Like that's the thing. I feel like it's all excuses. No, for real.
Is it?
I feel like it's all excuses. People just like to say, "Oh, women are different, men are different, men are." Yes, I understand physicalities. Yes, are different, but at the same time, if you're saying men are polygamous, women are polygamous, let's all be polygamous.
Yes, exactly.
Which I don't agree with.
Do you get the thing is, like, we both have emotions, even though it's not gonna hurt me as much if we both have emotions, the same emotions we both have, we still both get hurt. So you cannot tell me that, oh babe, it's just emotional treatment, blah blah blah, or one auntie will not come and tell me like, oh, he's polygamous by nature, I expect this is it's an excuse, and we need to stop using that excuse. A guy knows that, oh, if I sleep with someone else and I get my auntie, I get my mom to come and beg her, they'll just explain to her that, this is, we need to, like she said, we're all polygamous by nature, men, women, let's all just
let's
just be on this.
Like, I think everyone is responsible for their actions. That is it. So polygamous, so you're not polygamous, so whatever you do, you like, if you have discipline to hold, what makes you think like women don't want to be polygamous too?
I'll just say this before we move forward. So I'll just ask myself out here and expose my family. Sorry, Jamil, I'll just say this before you come in. So my granddad had like he married my grandma. She was the first wife, right? So he now decided that he wanted to marry another woman, bring her into their home, their family home, where she's had a kid. Her kids are running around. The man said he wanted to bring another something. The woman said, okay, no problem. Since this is the way you want to go, she packed her bag, packed her children, and she moved.
That's like my grandma too.
She did not accept the excuse of, oh, because at that time people were begging her. Her mom would beg her, the aunties, blah, blah, blah. Oh, if you leave now, she's going to win. She's going to get the inheritance. She's like, I ain't standing for none of that. That's all an excuse. She moved herself. And years later, this man came back to her and basically apologized, and he said, I understand how this have affected you. I just want to say I'm sorry. That's not even the point. The point is that she decided that I'm not going to take this nonsense, and this is an excuse. And that was a very hard decision for her back in the day, because back in the day, it was accepted. You don't complain. You don't what? No, it's not a problem. He wants to bring more wife. It's fine. Just he wants to sleep around. It's okay. He has a child somewhere else. It's okay. He wants to do this. It's okay. But she at that time was like, I'm not having this nonsense. I'm going to, and I feel like that's yes. If you're watching this, don't feel like you have to take, a cheating guy, relationship or whatever. You don't have to. Don't listen to anyone that's, you've been, because another excuse is,
my next time. That's what they like to say.
Oh, you've been in this relationship for 5 years. If you leave now, another girl's going to come and inherit, everything that you've doing. Be patient. Be patient, my daughter. No, don't. That's my own view, like this.
Nah, like I'm with you guys. Jerry, do you agree with us?
I understand you.
Okay.
I understand you. I feel where you're coming from, but I think when we have these conversations, society has changed, and especially with our generation, right? So we have a different ideology of life in itself, and because we do, we build our expectations on these ideologies that we have. Do you know what I'm saying? Probably we should, and the way I'm just elongating my words.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for it.
Okay, it would be best to find out the origin of a lot of these things that have existed in order to gain an accurate understanding of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just to even the concept of marriage, I thought and I understood what marriage was until, because we're all Christians as well, right? So at least from a biblical perspective, also from cultural, it's surprising that you find that there is a universal culture when it comes to marriage. It's shocking, but you find that there's actually a universal culture when it comes to, the concept of marriage and stuff. So when you study those things and then you realize where it's actually coming from, then you get to understand that there has actually been a lot of issues in the concept in itself. Do you get what I'm saying? And what happens is the ideologies not necessarily be the same. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. However, when it comes to polygamous situations and all that stuff, at least what we can comfortably agree on is this. If I make a commitment with you and our commitment is not a polygamous one, and I do not make my intentions clear that we are in a polygamous situation, then I knowing that your expectation is not a polygamous one, then I'm in the wrong for forcing that on you, because that's not what we believe in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in that case, I have wronged, I've erred, because I'm then forcing an ideology that you don't believe in on you. It doesn't matter what I think is the way forward or is the right way or not. I should have communicated that to you when I realized that you're not on that, thinking. So regardless what it is, I think there can be deceit when intentions are not clear. And you can't go and marry someone and say, oh, okay. Because biblically, a lot of things that, and I was shocked when I found out these things as well. There are different kinds of wives, and it's not every single kind of wife that they necessarily went and did, like go and did gele and all that stuff for. Biblically, if you were to meet a woman, sleep with her, she's your wife, go and pay her bride price to her parents, and she's your wife from that moment. And if you were to go and sleep with someone and you owe the dad. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, biblically and culturally, even in so our faith, a lot of it is based on Jewish culture, right? And even in my culture as a Ghanaian and Ashanti guy, right? And a Kan man from Ghana, if you go and impregnate a girl, you owe the father, you owe them, and you have to go and pay those things, and she's wife immediately. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a bit of a correlation there. What the point I'm trying to make is this: if we look at the genesis of things, there's a lot of things that say, nonetheless, when you have certain intentions or when you're doing certain things and trying to force on people, is deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I met Aisha and I'm like, ooh, yay, will you be mine, all that stuff, and then she's like, yeah, and then then I decide that okay, cool, I can go and take someone else as well because I think it's okay based on A, B, C, and D, and I
Mm-hmm.
do it. I deceived her because knowing Aisha very well that she doesn't play by those rules and that's not her mindset at all. Then I
Mm-hmm.
put her in a situation where I'm forcing her to become something that she's her heart will not be at peace with. Do you know what I'm saying? So
100%.
yeah, that's pretty much what I would say really.
No,
Yeah.
I think like you said it all. Like I really feel like there's nothing more I can add in the sense that like I really feel like know who you're dating. If you know the person does not want no polygamous arrangements, don't disrupt their life by bringing such polygamous arrangements to their lives. Like I'll be honest, yeah, in Christ we don't do all of those things in terms of like
Oh, we
open
do.
relationships and whatnot. Sorry,
What you mean the polygamous?
I was like open relationships.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay. Well, Christians can have polygamous marriages. It's scriptural.
Oh
It's
my
not
god.
popular.
Okay. I
It's
let's
not popular. No,
Let's
no, no,
not
no,
get
no, no.
into that.
let's not get into
Hold on,
that.
hold on, hold on, hold on.
One man, one wife, please.
I know. It's not politically correct because of our own our own modern culture. I get it, but scripturally, it is. But like I said, regardless, right? If that's what you're on, find somebody who is on that with you. You get what I'm saying? If that's what you're on, don't go and surprise people and then trap them in a situation where it's now an issue or you get it against their will, all that stuff. So
Exactly. Like
regardless whether it's scripture or not, don't go and force on somebody's daughter. Let her know your intention from the get go, and then
please
yeah.
protect her and yourself from heartbreak, okay?
Yeah.
From
On
what?
that note, I think that's always true. I mean, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being here. Yeah, please subscribe, tap that bell for notification, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I will put the details of the guest in the description bar below so you guys go check it out. Thank you and see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Wait.